So this is section B, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I already uploaded the course outline, so you just follow the topics for prelim, midterm, semi, and final. So I'll be the instructor for the lecture in human anatomy, and your instructor for laboratory is Sir De Leon, Gilbert De Leon. So any questions before we proceed or clarifications? Okay, so there was a question kung madayon ba ang limited face-to-face sa February 2. Actually, that was being approved by the CHED. No, nga, supposed to be 17. But since na-increase man ang cases sa COVID, so nag-release sila memo nga February 2. But if you ask me, so dili po ko kasabag because magagad lang po ni sa admin and sa CHED. What if kung mag-increase na po, no? So, as long mo na siya plano nga February 2, mag-limited face-to-face, hopefully. So, as of now, mag-floating pa ta. But, favor mo decrease, okay? So, from level 3, may matang level 2, level 1 baka ha, at least siguro madayon ang limited face-to-face. As of now, sad mi ka, basta mo na siya plano yun. Okay? So, in first year, there are some selected subjects to undergo limited face-to-face, especially with laboratory. Now, because it is a board subject, meaning there are some questions that will be taken from the laboratory. No? Especially, ma-perform ninyo, you can imagine during board exams na kining questions, we perform this sa laboratory. Especially ka mga determination of colors or reactions. Okay? At least you can imagine na na-perform. So, dali ra siya kay usually that is mo una yung mga testimony sa katong mga previous na take board exam because yearly, every time na board exam, I have to ask them ang gawas. Okay? So that the instructor also can focus sa inana mga questions. So, I think there are two subjects. First year nga mo undergo limited face-to-face sa laboratory. Okay, maglisod karon ang sitwasyon nato no pag narantay sip uno na kuyawan na ta no pag napihila na masig subject for swabbing na ta. Okay, so even do nga naalang kay minor colds lisod na there are some mo nag-positive gihapon even do nga naka-booster na. So at least marag mild lang siya pero ang effect sa atong mind severe. Worried gitag maayo. So hopefully yan ang gawas nga. Tinda pa wa ni agi wa ni sabay sa uso diha nga wag ihalantan wala gisipon giubo. Okay? Kamo na lang nabilin. Meaning daghan gi kayo no. So mag nauso sa panahon but the problem is mga respiratory, we will tackle this one about mga respiratory no. Basta respiratory symptoms makuyawan na din ka because COVID usually ang mga respiratory symptoms similar with other conditions that involve respiratory. Difficulty breathing, tayo nga, kuan, runny nose, okay? Ano na. So, with that, itchy throat, the eyes, watery eyes, ano. So, something na yung mga similarities sa mga manifestation or signs and symptoms COVID to other diseases. Okay, so, by the way, actually sa course outline na yung mga books dito you can be used as reference at sometimes kung mas mayo nagi mo ikaw galingon yung books katong na-added sa atong course outline. So I think we understand also nga it's hard to secure this time katong sa mga books kay before we required student to have their books. Mas mayo nung na kay mabasa. Anyway, if you have some books in yung balay, kung di mo ka-secure, so anyway, ang discussion sa respiratory, anatomy, same naman gyapon na sa kung unsa nga books. So let's start. So again, once you log in, that will be your attendance will be automatically recorded, and once you log out again, that will be determined also what time mo nag-log out. Okay? What time mo nag-log in, what time mo nag-log out, that will be automatically recorded. So, anatomy, this will involve mga structures and its functions, the nerve functions, pathophysiology. So, Andreas Risalcius, a Belgian-born anatomist and physician, born in 1514 into a family of physicians, and being considered the father of modern anatomy, and his work the beginning of modern medicine. So, what is anatomy? So, anatomy is the study of structure and relationship between body parts. No? So, natin mga vital organs or other different organs in the body. It has its own different functions. No? So, physiology is the study of function of body parts and the body as a whole. So, ang atong mga body parts na kinabangay gina sila, no? Pag do sa ilahang specific functions in order for us to live. Now, na sa cells na in every human body, naapod tayo kaugalingon na itong cells. Different cells na sa atong cells sa atong kidney, lungs. So, naapod na sila kaugalingon nilang functions. Okay? So, we need to have good nutrients para sa atong cells in order to survive. So, physiology is the study of functions of body parts and the body as a whole. Gross or macroscopic, macro means big. It's a study of body parts visible to the naked eye. But the cell is at smallest, no? So we need to use microscope. That is why it's invented a microscope, because we need to see ang cells. Okay? Or any kung nga need mo i-study nga cannot be seen by naked eye. So as I mentioned, we have what we call vital organs. Okay? Damage or non-functional one of this organ may result to death. Okay? So especially ang imong brain. Now there are cases nga natawag nila vegetable or brain dead, but still the patient breathing supported mechanical ventilation, or sometimes at least na kay chances dito. So pag damage ng brain, kana sa even mga stroke, no? Pag naman tay parts sa atong brain, no? Na tay frontal, temporal, parietal. So any parts sa imong brain nga na-damage, na po na specific kung sa functions niya, mao to yung ma-deficit po nga functions. Okay? Kaya may stroke, makita mo, na half body, din na ma-move, na lisod ng speech because ang part sa brain nga na-damage, kato nga part siya for speech. And heart, so usually, ang mga command, magikan gid sa atong brain, no? Kung aso sa atong i-move, so mag-dictate yun na siya. Okay, like for example, nauhaw ka, thirst. So, ang atong brain, mag-dictate sa thirst center, so what atong reaction, mo inom ta. Okay? To maintain the fluid balance sa ato ang body. One example, so magikan gid sa atong brain, ang mga command. Okay? Heart is the most important organ of circulatory system. which helps deliver blood to the body. So natay blood, okay? Everyone has a blood, and that blood contains RBC which carry the oxygen para i-supply sa atong body parts, sa atong mga cells, every part sa ato ang body. Also, it carry nutrients, no? Para sa mga cells, magamit in order to survive sa ato ang cells. So, heart, pump niya ang blood, oxygenated blood from the lungs. So, ano man siya? Pag mag-pump na gani ang oxygenated blood, ma-distribute sa atong body, mubalik sa artery, mubalik na siya paingon sa vein, muagi sa vein, paingon sa inferior vena cava, sa superior vena cava. Katong blood wala na oxygen. So, yan ang heart, ipump niya pabalik dito sa lungs na to because dito magkuha og oxygen, mag-exchange sa carbon dioxide of oxygen. Once we breathe in, we inhale tag oxygen, deliver na siya paingon sa atong alveolar sacs. Dito dahil na mag-exchange, no? So, i-release sa blood, ang carbon dioxide, mo pick up po dayon siya o oxygen. Pabalik na po, ikan sa lungs, mubalik na po na siya sa heart, sa pulmonary artery, then ang heart, ipump na paingon sa aorta na po, pa-deliver na po sa ato ang body. So, ana ra ang yung circulation. So it's also important nga maayo po ang function nato sa heart. Kaya kung dili po function, dili maayo function sa atong heart, so what will happen? Less po ang atong oxygen ma-inhale, less ma-distribute sa atong body. So that is why sometimes ang atong heart mo pump siya maayo kay because ma-determine niya our body needs more oxygen. Other parts of the body need oxygen. So matrabaho siya until it will come kanang enlarge ang atong heart and over fatigue. No? So the more na kung naa na kay na mga conditions sa imong heart, pag mag-fast heartbeat ka, okay? So what will happen na tendency mag-collapse po nimong heart. So wala po na, mag-CPR na po, no? So lungs work with the heart to oxygenate blood. The liver is the most important organ of metabolic system. So take note, every time we eat, we drink, and even medication, muagi gina siya sa ato ang liver. So kung ang imong mga gipangkaon, dili kayo kan cause harm sa ato ang liver, so madamage sa atong liver, what will happen? So minus na po ang function sa liver. So take note that liver is very needed for metabolism. So, inana po ang mahitabo, pag kuan po siya, minus na po ang function sa ating other vital organs or any different parts sa atong organ. Also, kidneys. So, take note that kidneys, napari uban nga, donate ang kidney uban o ibaligya ubang kidney. No? Kaya napay isa. Yes, you can survive only one kidney, but the problem is pag madamage na siya, ang isa, wala na kay reserba, ikaw na po yung mamalit. So, kidney removes waste and extra fluid from your body. So, what will happen? Pag damage imong kidney, so mapundo ang imong waste, extra fluid from your body, dili mapagawas, ma-reabsorb. Just me, that is why, kanana mga renal failure, stage 4, okay? Yan mahitabo. Tanaw ni mo na sila, tambuke sila, okay? Because that is fluid accumulation na dili nila mapagawas. Okay? Minus na ang function sa ilahang kidney. So, tendency develops what we call anasarca. Okay? Edema all over the body, including sa face, maski sa fingernails, okay? Toenails, all over. Pag anasarca ang patient. So, kay dili po niya ma-remove ang waste, so it can cause toxicity sa iyahang body. So, take note, i-reabsorb, no? So kidney also remove acid as produced by the cells of your body and maintain healthy balance of water, salts, and minerals. So, ano say nga, pag admitted ang patient, na mga medication, okay, needed na i-monitor ang urine output and intake of the patient so that we will know nga normal ang function sa iyahang kidney. Okay? Maintain a healthy balance of water, salts, and minerals such as sodium, calcium, phosphorus, potassium in your blood. So there are different types of organs in the body. Okay, so it's the organs have also its different functions, no? So needed sa ato ang body. But the most important is the vital organs, no? Kaya saan na lang yung ibang organs kung ang one of the vital organs damaged. Adrenal glands, anus, appendix, bladder, bones, bone marrow, brain, bronchi, diaphragm. Ngayon, heart, hypothalamus, joints, kidneys, large intestine, larynx, liver, lungs, lymph nodes. Pancreas, pineal glands, parotid glands, pharynx, pituitary gland, prostate, rectum, salivary, skeletal muscle. Thymus gland, thyroid, trachea, tongue, ureters, urethra, uterus, nerves, ligament. Testes, epididymis, pituitary, seminal vesicles, bulbourethral glands, penis, scrotum, subcutaneous tissue, foramen ovale, and ears, esophagus, eyes, fallopian tubes, gallbladder, olfactory epithelium, mammary glands, dysentery, mouth, nasal cavity, nose, ovary, skin, small intestine, spinal cord, spleen, stomach, teeth, tendons, clitoris, vagina, vulva, cerebellum, placenta, arteries, veins, capillaries, lymphatic vessels, tonsils, and secretion. So the organs involved, no, or mentioned, there are some organ na pwede siya i-remove like tonsils, no? So very helpful po datong tonsils because kanang mo kuan po siya para sa atong mga bacteria, no? But sometimes ma-inflame siya. So naa may other organs nga same ang ilahang functions with the tonsil. So dili ka mo worried nga matangtang because there are some nga ilang patangtang because sige silang tonsillitis because the bacteria present in the tonsil sometimes maybe maadto sa ilang heart, no? So mo na worries. So that is why tagko silang tonsil. So difficulty during trouble sa ilang sleeping, no? Mag-snore sila. So sometimes na period of apnea, dili sila kaginawa during night time. So take note kag period of apnea, so meaning there is less oxygenation. So meaning na tendency nga it can cause some harms sa imong heart food, no? Kung ginapatangtang nila usahay. But dili mo worry because there are some body organs, no, nga same ang function sa imuhang tonsils. So maka-cope up lang. So take note other organs nga present sa female and also present sa male, no? So like uterus, kung di na gusto manganak, pwede tangtangon or na infection sa uterus nga hadlok nga apil ang ubang organs, no? Tangtangon ang uterus, pwede ra fallopian tubes, pwede ra. Okay? For reproduction naman siya. So reproductive organ. So dili na pud ka makaanak, okay? Now, there are some nga mo undergo og tabso because may reason nga nung gitabso. Na infections, PID, okay? Gitangtang ang tabso total abdominal bilateral hysterectomy with oophorectomy. Okay? Tangtangan ang uterus, fallopian tube, ang ovary. Ay reason po nga anong tangon. So, ini makasurvive lang gyapon ang patient with that. Okay? Pero dili nakaanak. Okay? Even ang atong large intestine, pag na mga colon cancer, no? Pag dili pa yung na metastasis, no? Pwede man siya makat ng atong large intestine because usually ang absorption sa nutrients, it will take sa small intestine, di ba? Sa atong stomach, small intestine, napo na siya tulo ka parts, no? Duodenum, jejunum, ileum, dayon sumpay dayon na siya sa colon or sa large intestine. Okay? Ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, paingon tayo muhang rectum. So, pwede na siya makat because ang atong body needs nutrients, ang absorption sa nutrients sa atong ginakaon, it will do some absorption sa atong small intestine. So take note, our absorption, okay, our digestion takes place first in our mouth. So therefore, we have to chew well sa food nga atong gina-intake. Kay sometimes pag maabot na siya as a whole, maabot pa na siya sa stomach, di pa din ma-digest insakto, maadto sa small intestine, dili pa ma-digest insakto, so less ang absorption sa imong nutrients, maadto na diretso sa large intestine. Padulong na sa may himong stool. Now, in anatomy, we also study about anatomical planes. No? We have coronal plane, okay? Dayon, sagittal plane, and transverse plane. Ang transverse, i-divide niya ang upper o lower, no? Half of the body. So, pangtangon ng taas, ang kaputol ko na sa lower, muna yung tawag transverse, upper o lower, transverse plane. So, sometimes will be used kung sa mga surgery, no? Kung say asa dapit ang area, okay? Or pag-describe, okay? Also sa axis, no? So, we also study about the central, caudal, posterior or dorsal, anterior or ventral. So, sa mga medico-legal, magamit niya siya nga mga term, okay? Anterior to, na naasa ang area, na may subwons, medial to, lateral to, proximal, distal, left, proximal, so sa imong hand, okay? So distal, pagawas, okay? The same picture. And also movements of upper and lower limbs. No? Okay, sometimes we have to evaluate kung normal ba ang function sa limb, okay? Upper or lower. So by doing that, okay, ipa-move mo normal ba? Okay? Pag dili siya ma-move, dili ma-abduct, so something wrong. Okay? Kasi may fracture na nagyapon. So flexion, extension, flexion. Also movements of hand and foot, okay? Flexion, dayon, extension. Okay? Sa imong dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, ankle eversion, and ankle inversion. So with these mga movements, that will be used also to check the function sa imong lower extremities or upper extremities. Especially, pag na mga vehicular, mamove nimo, pag na contusion, pag di ma-move, something like fracture, open fracture or closed fracture. Closed meaning walay samad, tuwar sa sulod, fracture. Open meaning na samad, fracture. Also movements of fingers, okay? Test ko na siya kung lagi ako sa mga fracture. Okay? Abduction, adduction. Now, in human body, we have what we call levels of organization. So, our body have also needed some chemicals. Like for example, glucose. No? Our body needs as a source of energy. One example. And our body also have cells. Yeah. So, we need to have a good nutrients sa atong cell in order for us to survive. Cell is the smallest living units on organisms, and it contains organelles and with its different functions. And also tissue levels, different groups of cells that perform function. Organ level, different types of tissues that perform common function. Organ system consists of different organs that work closely together. So, like for example, atong vital organs. So chemical elements, matter exists in three forms: solid, liquid, gas, and all forms of matter composed of chemical elements. Atomic mass. Okay. So we have neutron, proton, electron. Atomic mass, weight of an element is average mass of all its naturally occurring isotopes. So una siya, ang levels of structure of organism. So chemical system, and cellular organism, tissue, organ system, and organism. So, na siya. In order for us to maintain normal body, we need these levels of structural organization. So, matter, chemical bonds, chemical energy, chemical reactions, and organic compounds. So, Actually, this is also involved sa ato ang human body. You will study this in your biochemistry. Same picture, no? Okay. So, we have also what we call enzymes. So, a catalyst in living cells are called enzymes. So, there are some conditions, deficit of specific enzymes, sometimes needed for the medication ang ilang ginatake. So, tendency without that enzymes, dili to medication magamit. So, tendency, it will just store sa ilahang body and it can cause harm effect. Napundo raman siya. Okay? Because of the absence of that enzymes. Mas ganing lactose, no? Intolerance sa mga bata sa milk. What will happen? Mag-diarrhea din ang bata because they don't have lactase enzymes. No? So, ang lacking sa lactose intolerance, they have enzymes what we call lactase. So, enzymes are highly specific in terms of substrate with which they react. So, also the enzymes are subject to a variety of cellular control. So, meaning these enzymes speed up chemical reactions by increasing frequency of collisions. So, mga example na po, pag na mga medication, nga need enzymes, so dili gamit ang medication. Dili may speed up ang chemical reactions. Okay? So, enzymes speed up chemical reactions by increasing frequency of collisions, lowering inactivation energy, and properly orienting the colliding molecule. So, cellular levels of organizations. So, take note that cells are the smallest unit of life or the functional unit of life. Okay? Exhibit all characteristics of life, are highly organized, many become specialized for complex function. So the cell theory was being developed or proposed by Sheridan and Swan that all living things are composed of cells. No? Maski ang plants, no? Kay cells sa plants. Okay? So all living things are composed of cells. Without cells, we are nothing. Okay? You know, have you observed kaya mamatay ang cells kaya mga foot ulcer or gangrenous foot ulcer sa mga diabetic patient? Okay, because in diabetic mga less minus ang blood circulation and usually na ang sugar silang blood. So minus ang distribution, so less ang nutrients maadto sa area nga naisamad and prone for infection. Mano maputol, ma-amputate ang mga TL, no? So it is very needed. Kung mamatay ang cells, mamatay po na nga area. Okay? So kung TL magkuan, gangrenous, so tendency putlon gina siya. Okay? I-check na kung asang area nga wala na dead cell. Dito na siya. Putlon. So cells are the functional and structural units of organisms. All cells are derived from previously existing cells. So, diba? So, produce na another cells, new cells, mamatay itong old cells. Okay? So, ina na mahitabo. Okay? So, previously existing cells, derived from previously existing cells. So, one example that can produce kining mga blood cells is our bone marrow. Kung damage sa bone marrow, na kay cancer sa bone marrow, so less po ng production sa imuhang blood cells. So, what will happen? Tendency, mag-leukemia ang patient. So, minus ang RBC, minus mag-carry sa oxygen, minus mag-carry sa nutrients, ang pasyente luspad, maglisod o ginhawa. So, mamatay ang cells. Okay? So, discovery of cells. Anton van Leeuwenhoek, by using microscope, invented the light microscope. Robert Hooke first observed cells in cork. Actually saw the cell walls of dead cells. So the same slides, chemical level, cells, tissues. Okay. There are 4 types of tissue: epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. Now, in our body, we have what we call homeostasis. We have to maintain what is being normal. No? Homeostasis, stability or tendency to maintain internal stability in our organism to compensate for environmental change. Now, for example, kanang itong glucose, no? Pag mutaas ganin na itong glucose, wag mo kumanday na siya sa receptor nga sa atong pancreas. atong pancreas, kuman na siya nga mo. Pagkuhan din siya, secret na yun ang islet cells sa Langerhans sa atong pancreas, especially sa beta cells. Pagkuhan din na siya o secret na siya ang insulin because insulin is needed for the glucose metabolism para magamit ang atuang glucose. Without insulin, dili man na siya makasulod sa atong muscles. Naargit siya sa atuang bloodstream, magkuyog-kuyog. So that is murag yawi or key ang insulin in order to open the door para makasulod ang glucose, and this glucose will be used as energy. Atong brain, atong muscles. Okay? So muna, homeostasis. Okay? It's a state of steady internal, physical, and chemical conditions maintained by living system. So this is the condition of optimal functioning for the organisms and include many variables such as body temperature, fluid balance, being kept within preset limits. Now, if you've noticed, grabe ka tugnaw, no? Tugnawan kay ka. So what will happen? Ang imong muscle shiver, no? Magkurog. Okay? Mangurog ka. That is one reaction sa imong body to keep you warm. Okay? So, marang homeostasis. So, homeostatic control mechanism, at least three interdependent components: receptor, integrating center, and effector. So the integrating center, this is the region of the brain called hypothalamus. Okay? Signals an effector, the muscle or other organ, to respond to the stimuli. Okay? So, giuhaw ka, minus na ang body water, o dictate dahil siya sa imuhang thirst center. So, kumanda yun. So, ang atong reaction, we have to drink water. Iuhaw man ka, yun, feel mo. Okay. So, yun siya. So, from body temperature, so receptor, control center, and kumanda yun sa effector to maintain or balance tayo, no? So, ang body temperature in the body is normal is 37 degrees centigrade. So kung mo decrease ang body temperature and stimulate temperature receptors, so ang control center signals skeletal muscle to shiver. Puro ka para ma-hit, no? So shivering, also called shuddering, is a bodily function in response to cold and warm-blooded animal. So, pure din ang imong panit para manginit, no? Kaya gitugnaw ka. Okay? So, mo po na'y kuman para mo increase ang imong body temperature. So, maintain homeostasis. So, in the body core, body temperature drops, shivering reflex is triggered to maintain homeostasis. So, skeletal muscles begin to shake in a small movements, creating warmth by expending energy. Okay, so normal pa lang siya, okay? And homeostasis variable, so normal. So, but there is an stimulus produces change in variable, so balance, no? So, change detected by receptor. So, ang receptor, when inputs ang information sent along afferent pathway to the control center in your brain, then mo dictate which is effector. Given an output, information sent along afferent pathway, and then response of the vector feeds back to influence cognitive stimulus and return variable to homeostasis. Okay? So as I mentioned before, like glucose, no? Rise in blood glucose levels above the set point, that is an stimulus. One na siya. Send din sa receptor, insulin secreting cells in pancreas. Active na yun. Okay, pag work sa, secret sa insulin, kay taas ang glucose, mapundo ni sa blood, wag di magamit pa ko insulin. So, insulin release into the blood. Kaya ito, napundo mo dito ang glucose sa imong bloodstream. Okay? So, insulin release by the pancreas, secreted by the pancreas, the beta cells in the pancreas, islet cells of Langerhans. So, i-release dito sa blood. And in response, most body cells take up glucose, kaya na may insulin. No? removing it from the blood. So magamit na rin sa as a source of energy. So, homeostasis, blood glucose level return to set point. Ana sa mga diabetic, no? So that is why pag di na makaya sa ilang pancreas, you have to take sa mga oral medication. Okay? Or injectable insulin. So sa diabetes, I think we will tackle also the type 1 and type 2. Okay? Usually sa type 2, may common kayo diri sa mga elderly because abusado. No? Alam, kung na-party, mas pilion ang delicious, not the nutritious food. Kita mo party nga mauna kahurot ang chapsoy, dili no, litson man gyud. Diba? Ang mga sweets, ang mauna kahurot. Diba? Ano siya. So let's tackle about cells because our body have cells and the cells have different functions. No? In order for us to survive without the cells, we are also nothing. Mamatay ang cells mo sa kidney, so abnormal ang function sa imong kidney, one of the vital organ, so it will make some other complications, and later on, it will result to death. Or even sa imong heart, lungs, brain. So, kana sa mga brain, pag na-stroke, no? Okay? We have one man, kanang hemorrhagic, o isa nga na siya sa imong blood vessels na blood clot na pundo or block ang distribution of blood paingon sa brain. So tendency ang cells on that point beyond that blood clot mamatay ko siya. So abnormal ang function. So what parts sa imong brain, as I said, mo na damage, kung unsa tong function atong parts sa imong brain, mao putoy mawala ang function. So smallest structure and functional unit of organism. So usually, if you want to visualize cells, you need microscope. So typically microscopic and consisting of cytoplasm, nucleus enclosed in membrane. Later on, we will show some picture of cells and the organelles involved and its function. So it is a basic building blocks of living things. Human body is composed of trillions of cells, all with their own specialized function. We will discuss it later, no? So cells are the basic structures of all living organisms. Provide structure for body, take in nutrients from food, and carry out important functions. So we need to eat healthy food for our cells. So microscopic organism typically consists of a single cell, which is either eukaryotic and prokaryotic. So 4 types of cells: epithelial, nerves, muscle cells, and connective tissue cells. So epithelials are tightly attached to one another. Nerve cells are specialized for communication. Diya na may dictate mo, diya mo ka ng signals o kay buhaton. Muscle cells are specialized for contraction. Okay? So sa atong mga muscles, we have different muscles, sa atong lower limbs, upper limbs, at chest. No? And it has also some different functions sa atong muscles. Pinapot tayo muscles for inhalation and exhalation, okay, in both during breathing. And also connective tissue cells. So this is the picture of epithelial cells, microscopic, that come from surface of your body, such as your skin, blood vessels, urinary tract, or organs. So they serve as barrier between the inside and outside of your body and protect it from viruses. No? Sa atong skin, that is why we have to clean our skin, maligo tagtarong, no? Because we have a normal flora. We have some pathogens present sa ating skin. So, dili pa siya mga harmful, but once makasulod siya, okay, na I wound sa atong body, so that's the time na it can cause some infection. So, nerve cells or neurons, okay? They send and receive signals from your brain. The center point, no? Ang command. So, while neurons have a lot in common with other types of cells, they're structurally and functionally unique. So, specialized projections, you can notice that an axons, diha moagi ang electrical signals or chemical signals paingon sa other cells. So, axons allow neurons to transmit electrical and chemical signals to other cells. Okay? So, kung ano imong buhaton? So, ang signals, moagi sa imong sa axons. So, that is the picture of nerve cells. The muscle cells, commonly known as myocytes. These are the cells that make up muscle tissue. So there are three types of muscle cells in the body: cardiac, skeletal, and smooth. So cardiac and skeletal myocytes are sometimes referred to as muscle fibers due to the long and fibrous shape. The skeletal and the cardiac muscle. Common cell types in connective tissue include fibroblasts, muscle, macrophages, adipocytes, and lymphocytes. But my fibroblasts are the most common cell type connective tissue because they produce both fibers and amorphous ground substance. So these are cells of connective tissue: fibroblasts, plasma cells, adipose cells, large lymphocytes, macrophages, fibrocytes, eosinophils, neutrophil cells with pigment granules, small lymphocytes, and mast cells. And of course, this type of cells have also different functions. So these are the connective tissue. Okay, those connective tissue under the skin. You have also adipose tissue, blood, fibrous connective tissue, and this fibrous connective tissue forming a ligament. And cartilage at the end of the bone. You have that cartilage sa imong bone para sa imong movement sa imong bone. Okay? So, kana siya. Sometimes, sa imong ni, mo na imong inflame. Ang mga taas ang uric acid. No? Inflame na siya diha. So, inig-move ni mo na sakit. So, sa bone. Okay? Type of cells in the body, we have stem cells, bone cells, blood cells, muscle cells, fat cells, skin cells, nerve cells, endothelials, sex cells, pancreatic cells, and cancer cells. So, but of course, kini cancer cells may different, no? So again, cells in the human body number in trillions and come in all shapes and sizes. So it comprises tissue comprises organs form organ system, and organ system work together in an organism. Now, cells of digestive system, for instance, are different in structure and function from cells of skeletal system. So again, but the overall functions of these cells in our body, even though different in locations, is to maintain a healthy body. Diba? No matter the differences, cells of the body depend on each other, either directly or indirectly, to keep the body functioning as one unit. Now, stem cells are unique cells of the body in that they are unspecialized and have ability to develop into specialized cells for specific organs or to develop into tissue. Have you heard stem cells therapy? No? Because these stem cells, it was being studied nga they are able to divide and replicate many times in order to replenish and repair tissue. So in the field of stem cell research, scientists are attempting to take advantage of renewal properties of stem cells by utilizing them to generate cells for tissue repair, organ transplantation, and for treatment of diseases. Because this type of cells able to divide and replicate many times in order to replenish and repair tissue. Bone cells are type of mineralized connective tissue and a major component of skeletal system. So I think we need also to maintain the normal sa ato ang bones, no? So, pag dili po na siya ma-maintain ang calcium, so tendency, our bone will be easily fractured. Okay? Fragile siya, humok siya. That is why sa mga elderly, if you notice, na may maglakaw nga, pinaubos na ang ulo, no? Because soft na kayo lang bone na isip na fragile, no? Mabawog na siya. Okay, because during elderly, sometimes malis na ang ato ang calcium. That is why they are mga advertisement kanay mga milk na rich in calcium for elderly. So there are three primary types of bone cells in the body. The osteoclasts are the large cells that decompose bone for resorption and assimilation. Osteoblasts regulate bone mineralization and produce osteoid. These are organic substance of bone matrix which mineralizes to form bone. Take note that osteoblasts mature to form osteocytes. And these osteocytes aid in the formation of bone and help maintain calcium balance. Blood cells, okay, we have the red blood cells, white blood cells, and we have platelets. No? So we mentioned that is blood cells. These are the RBC carrying or transport oxygen to the other parts of atong body. And white WBC, muna siya atong army cells. No? May mo fight pag naay mga bacteria or viruses sa ato ang body. Para sa pag CBC mo increase na siya. So meaning nag-increase ang WBC it's because to kumpuan ba to kung sa kadaghan ang bacteria or virus mo, multiply po siya, managko po siya in order to fight the presence of pathogens sa ato ang body. Para sa ang atong lymph nodes, okay, ang lusay, itawag nila, kung enlarge po na siya and painful. So blood cells from transporting oxygen throughout the body, the RBC, to fighting infections, the WBC. The cells of blood are vital to life. Three major types of cells in the blood: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Okay? Take note that platelets have a clotting factor. Okay? So it is very important also nga normal ang atong level sa ato ang platelets because below normal or very below normal. So tendency may lead to internal bleeding. Just like example katong mga hemorrhagic, dengue hemorrhagic fever. Yung maglagom-lagom ang ilang panit, no? So meaning indication nga maybe this patient with dengue hemorrhagic bleeding na siya inside, that it will go into shock. Riyaw na. So red blood cells determine blood type and are also responsible of transporting oxygen to cells. So again, as I said, white blood cells are immune system cells that destroy pathogens and provide immunity. Now, kung decrease gani ang imong immune system, minus imong army cells, you are prone to any diseases. Okay? Dali ka matakdan, just like in mga AIDS patient. No? Ubos kina nila ang army cells, ang T-helper cells nila. Ubos. So, tendency mo nang dali sila matakdan. Even mga sakit sa mga birds, no? Pwede na sila matakdan. Okay? Because of the decrease kayo lang immune system. Minus kayo lang army cells. Okay? For name 8, they can have sa mga diseases. Sa mga karang AIDS patient. So medication for mga AIDS patient is just to prolong their life, but not to cure. Okay, later on, pag mo-decrease na po ng immune system, takda na po sila lang yung sakit. Sometimes they will die due to complications. Platelets help to clot blood and prevent excessive blood loss due to broken or damaged blood vessels. So very important also to maintain our levels of platelet. No? Pag masamad ka, ato din na sila dito sa area na isamad, then mag-release ng clotting factor, then mag-blood clot dayon para dili magsigi og bleeding or dugo. So blood cells are produced by bone marrow. So, as I said, kung naakay cancer sa bone, so minus pag-produce ng blood cells, sometimes immature ang ma-produce. Dili mo develop so mature. So, dili gyapon ka carry og oxygen. Mamatay ra diretso. Para sa mga leukemia na bone marrow cancer, mag-develop leukemia. Muscle cells. So these muscle cells form muscle tissue, important for bodily movement. Skeletal muscle tissue attached to bone, enabling voluntary movement. So skeletal muscle cells covered by connective tissue which protect and support muscle fiber bundles. Okay? Disruption of the muscle will lead to inability to move kung asa nga part ang na-disruption. Cardiac muscle cells form involuntary cardiac muscles found in the heart. So these cardiac muscle cells aid in the heart contraction and are joined to one another by intercalated discs, which allow for synchronization of the heartbeat. A smooth muscle is involuntary muscle that lines body cavities, form the walls of many organs, kidney, intestine, blood vessels, lung, airways. So ang cardiac muscle cells form involuntary cardiac muscles found in the heart. So ang atong heart, dili nato na addicted pa pagtrabaho diya. The work kini siya kay once mo stop na siya, patay pud ta. Walay oxygenation. Involuntary. Fat cells, also called adipocytes, are the major cell component of adipose tissue. It contains droplets of stored fat, the triglycerides, that can be used for energy. Now, take note, if your glucose in the body is not being used because there is no insulin, so your stored fats and protein in the muscle will be used as a source of energy. Pero gataas lang gyapon pirmi ang glucose sa bloodstream. Walay alternative niya sa ato ang body nga magamit as energy. So magamit ng fats, magamit ng protein mo nang dali ra makapuyon ang mga patient, no? Dali sila kapuyon. Sometimes after pagkaon, dami kay tulog diretso. So when fat is being stored, fat cells swells and become round in shape. When fat is being used, these cells shrink in size. So adipose cells also have endocrine function as they produce hormones that influence sex hormones metabolism, blood pressure regulation, insulin sensitivity, fat storage and use, blood clotting, and cell signaling. So this also functions of your adipose cells or fat cells. Skin cells, composed of layer of tissue. Be sure to know the layers of your skin. Okay? Epidermis, dermis, that support the layer of connective tissue, the dermis, and the underlying subcutaneous layer. The outermost layer of the skin composed of flat squamous epithelial cells that are closely packed together. Try to view about the layer of the skin. So skin protect internal structure of the body from damage, prevents dehydration. So kung wala kay skin, easily evaporate ang imuhang body water. Okay? To prevent dehydration, act as a barrier against germs. Okay? Pag open na siya, as I said, that's the time, the point of entry, pag open ang imuhang skin, na kay wound. Okay? So it acts as barrier against germs, stores fat. So kung less po na imong fat sa imong skin, dali po katog na wound. Okay? So and also, remember that our fats also magamit na siya as a source of energy and produces vitamins and hormones. Nerve cells are the basic units of nervous system. Nerves send signals among the brain, spinal cord, and other organs via nerve impulses. So neurons consist of two major parts, the cell body and the nerve processes. In the previous slide, no? Kita niyo itong nerve cells, neurons with axons. Diba? So the central cell body contains neurons Nucleus, associated cytoplasm, and organelles. Their processes are spring-like projections, axons and dendrites that extend from the cell body and able to conduct and transmit signals via the axons. From the nerve cells, signals transmitted to the axons of the other cells. Endothelial cells, it form the inner lining of cardiovascular system and lymphatic system structure. And these cells make up the inner layer of blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, organ including the brain, lungs, skin, and heart. Responsible for angiogenesis. Angiogenesis is a creation of new blood vessels. Take note that our cancer cells, no, we mentioned later on, our cancer cells, they have the ability to form to create angiogenesis or creation of new blood vessels. Para kanang blood vessels, that is a source for their nutrients sa cancer cells. That is why ang medication for anti-cancer, ang target niya ang katong mga new blood vessels created by the cancer cells. Okay, kung wala na sila supply, mamatay po ang cancer cells. Okay? Responsible for angiogenesis. They also regulate movement of macromolecules, gases, and fluid between blood and surrounding tissue. And also it helps regulate blood pressure. Sex cells. Okay. Looks familiar. Okay. The ova and the sperm. So the sperm have flagellum. Mo na gamit nila para mag-swim sila, mag-move sila, mag-ikog nila. Are reproductive cells produced in male and female gonads. Male sex cells or sperm are motile and have long tail-like projections called flagellum. Itong ikog niya, mo ito'y gamit niya para pag-swim. Female sex cells or ova are non-motile and relatively large in comparison to male gamete. So in sexual reproduction, sex cells unite during fertilization to form new individual. So usually dito na sila mag-meet sa fallopian tube. No? So after dito, makasulod ang isa ka sperm sa ova, then mo close na itong iyang pultahan, nasudlan, close siya din, mo release po din na siya katong fluids nga mamatay ang katong mga sperm nga nasa gawas. Okay? So while other body cells replicate by mitosis, gametes reproduce by mitosis. So dito sa fallopian tube, pag mamita na sila, mobalik ng katong nag-meet nga sex cells, no? Paingon sa uterus. Dito na rin siya, mudako. So kung magpundo sa fallopian tube, that will result to ectopic pregnancy. Iknot gamay ra ka ang fallopian tube. Yung mudako dito ang baby. So dili pa na siya yung mudako. Increase na siya gamay, sakit na bation na yun sa female, no? So, ultrasound din na, makita na na, labi na positive pregnancy test. Okay? Ayun, makita nga wala may sulod sa uterus, nasa fallopian tube, that will be ectopic pregnancy. So, tangtango na siya dito. Usually, katong mga sigig pa-abort, no? Maminus ang function sa ilang uterus o fallopian tube. So, dito may stay sa ilang fallopian tube. Most common sa ectopic pregnancy na sa fallopian tube. Pancreatic cells function as both an exocrine and endocrine organ. So exocrine sinal cells produce digestive enzymes that are transported by ducts to the small intestine. So this is one function of your pancreas. Aside from secreting insulin, they also secrete digestive enzymes. The enzymes is useful for digestion. Now there are other organs also involved, release some digestive enzymes. So aside from that, we have also pancreas. Even kining gallbladder, no, kining abdo, release po na siya digestive enzymes, especially for sa mga fats. Ne? So mukaon kag fats, so na digestive enzymes for fats coming from the gallbladder or kanang abdo. But the problem is kung infected na yung mukhang gallbladder, i-remove na siya. So you have to avoid eating mga fatty foods. Why? Because dili na siya ma-digest, mugawas na siya diretso. Take note, oily, fatty. Diba? So dili mo makontrol, nanay mugawas emong underwear. Okay? So a very small percentage of pancreatic cells have endocrine functions and secrete hormones. So pancreatic endocrine, auto insulin. Okay? found in small cluster called islets of Langerhans. Especially the beta cells of the islet Langerhans secrete insulin. Endocrine function. One is exocrine function and the other is endocrine function. So hormones produced by the cells include insulin, glucagon, and gastrin. So pancreatic cells, very important. We mentioned about regulation of blood glucose concentration as well as for digestion of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So in a normal person, normal pang function sa ilang pancreas, when they eat sweets, no? So eat sila more on carbohydrates, okay? Grabe ang rice, so their carbohydrates will be converted into glucose. So tendency, madetect ko sa pancreas ni mo, oy, nitaas ang glucose. So normal function, o secret na siya para magamit to siya. But later on lagi, as I said, kapuyan na po siya, no? Kay gahi kag ulo, di na po siya o secret of insulin needed for sa imuhang glucose. O secret man siya minimal, no? But not enough sa level sa imong glucose sa imong body. Cancer cells, so results from development of abnormal properties in normal cells that enable them to divide uncontrollably and spread to other locations. So sometimes ma-develop cancer cells from mga viruses, infections, so tendency of normal cells mag-change man na, no? From the old cells, create of new cells. Okay? So the creation of new cells from the existing pre-existing cells, no? So, but these cancer cells, dili, continue siya. Wala siya ingon katong cell death, continue siya. Okay? Abnormal na iyang function. Cancer cell develop can be caused by mutation that occur from factors such as chemical exposures or even drugs, no? And radiation, ultraviolet light, chromosomes replication errors, and viral infection. Epstein-Barr virus. So in cancer cells, low sensitivity to anti-growth signals, it proliferates rapidly and lose the ability to undergo apoptosis or cell death. No? Continue sila. And they will create, as I said, they will create their own blood vessels for their source of nutrients. So you have to take anti-cancer medication to destroy that blood vessels created by the cancer cells. So wala sila source, mamatay man to, so wala sila food, the nutrients, mamatay na po yung cancer cells. So let's go to about the cell. So we mentioned that in our body we have cell, the basic unit of life, and they have these organelles. Okay? So nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, cytoplasm, cell membrane, DNA, lysosome, ribosomes, mitochondria, and Golgi apparatus. With these organelles, they have different functions. So our cells made up 2/3 of cells is water. So we have to maintain the normal level of our water. Beyond that, below of the normal or very, very low, normal, that may lead to dehydration atong cells. So mamatay po atong cells. So as a whole, kita po, no? So means that 2/3 of your whole body is water. There is a mixture of molecules, mainly proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates. So your cells turn the raw materials in the food you eat into molecules your body needs using thousands of different chemical reactions. Cell is basically made up of biological molecules like protein, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acid. And these biomolecules made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Proteins and nucleic acid have also nitrogen. So, also may inside. What is inside a cell? It is the largest organelle in the cell and contains the DNA of the cell. So DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid contains all the information for the cells to live, perform their functions, and reproduce. So this DNA, only siya carries a long genetic information. So each one of us different DNA strands, no? Kung magamit siya DNA testing. Okay. So kung ikaw ang imong kuan father nimo, mother, okay, gamit na siya to test. So inside the nucleus, another organelle called nucleolus. You can see in the picture. So there is a picture of nucleus, and there is inside a nucleolus. So nucleus, a dense organelle present in the most eukaryotic cells. Typically a single rounded structure bounded by double membrane containing the genetic material. So again, nucleus contains genetic information DNA and special strands called chromosomes. So function is the control center of the cell for cell metabolism and reproduction. So organelles are found in both plants and animals. We have endoplasmic reticulum. So a network of membranous tubules within the cytoplasm of eukaryotic cells continues with nuclear membrane and usually has ribosomes attached and is involved in protein and lipid synthesis. Function, folding of protein molecules in cells called cisternae, transport of synthesized proteins and vesicles to Golgi apparatus. Cytoplasm consists of all contents outside the nucleus and enclosed within the cell membrane of a cell. So if you can see in the picture, it is a clear in color and has gel-like appearance, composed mainly of water but also contains enzymes, salt, organelles, and various organic molecules. The cytoplasm. So most of the important activities of the cell occur in the cytoplasm. So contains molecules such as enzymes, which are responsible for breaking down waste, also aid in metabolic activity. So function, responsible for giving a cell its shape, helps to fill out the cell and keeps organelles in their place. Cell membrane, also known as plasma membrane or cytoplasmic membrane, and historically referred to as a plasmalemma. This is a biological membrane that separates the interior of all cells from the outside environment. So it protects the cell from its environment. Function, protect the cell by acting a barrier, regulates transport of substances in and out of the cell, receive chemical messages or messengers from other cells. Also act as receptor, cell mobility, secretion, absorption of substances takes place. So DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid, the self-replicating material which is present in nearly all living organisms as the main constituents of chromosomes. DNA is the carrier of genetic information. Sa kangkaliwat. It's a nucleic acid that contains genetic instructions for development of function of living things. All non-cellular life and some viruses contain DNA. So viruses, we have RNA virus and DNA viruses. You will encounter this in microbiology. So the main role of DNA in the cell is long-term storage of information. Lysosomes inside the cell, numerous organisms functions to remove waste. So one of the key organisms involved digestion and waste removal is the lysosome. They are organelles that contain digestive enzymes digest exist or worn out organelles, food particles, and engulf viruses or bacteria. So the function, break down lipids, carbohydrates, protein into small molecules that can be used by the rest of the cell. Also involved in breaking down organelles that have outlived their usefulness. The ribosomes, a spear-shaped structure with the cytoplasm of a cell that is composed of RNA and protein, and this ribosome is the site of protein synthesis. So ribosome exists in both eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Function are a cell structure that makes protein, because this protein is needed for many cell functions such as repairing damage or directing chemical processes. Ribosomes can be found floating within the cytoplasm or attached to endoplasmic reticulum. And again, it is the site of protein synthesis. Mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, it generates energy magamit sa ato ang cell. Okay. Our organelles with eukaryotic cells that produce adenosine triphosphate, o ni siya ang energy, the main energy molecule used by the cell. So energy being produced through the process of what we call cellular respiration or aerobic respiration. The main job is to perform cellular respiration. This means it takes the nutrients from the cell, breaks it down, turn it into an energy. Then the energy is then used by the cell to carry out various functions. The Golgi apparatus, organelle in eukaryotic cells, stores and modifies proteins for a specific function and prepares them to transport to other parts of the cell. And this Golgi apparatus usually near the cell nucleus and consists of stack of latent sac. If you can see that on the picture. So in eukaryotic cells, this Golgi apparatus is a manufacturing and shaping center of the cell, also known as Golgi complex or Golgi body. The function, the Golgi body structure is formed with a vesicle-like sacs called cisternae, and the Golgi body function is to process proteins and sort cellular proteins for delivery inside or outside the cell. So it serves as the packaging and distribution center of the cell. Okay, organ system. We have integumentary system, the skin, to provide protection, regulate temperature, prevent water loss, and help produce vitamin D. Our skin consists of skin, hair, nails, and sweat glands. Our integumentary system consists of skin, hair, nails, and sweat glands. So, maraming layers sa skin, no? Epidermis, dermis. So, what other parts are involved sa epidermis and the dermis? On our skeletal system, provide protection and support, allows body movements, produce blood cells, and stores minerals and fat. So it consists of bones, associated cartilage, ligaments, and joints. Muscular system produces body movements, maintain posture, produces body heat, consists of muscle attached to skeleton by tendon. Take note, yung muscle, naka-attach siya sa tendon, then ang tendon naka-attach sa bone. Rupture of the tendon, there will be loss of function sa imong muscle. Sometimes kanang imong Achilles tendon, pag makat na siya, di nakakalakaw. So muscular system responsible for movement of human body. Attached to the bones of skeletal system are about 700 named muscles that make up roughly half of the person's body weight. So it's muscle. It's a discrete organ constructed of skeletal muscle tissue, blood vessels, tendons, and nerves. So primary function is to form a solid framework that supports protects body organs and anchors skeletal muscles. So sa imong chest part na kay mga ribs diha. So it aids sa protection, especially kay mga blunt trauma, no? Accidental o car accident pag maigo na imong chest, no? So na kay bone diha, so dili direct ang kuan ang igo sa imuhang heart or sa imuhang lungs. So ma-protect ang imuhang ribs. It forms solid framework that support and protects the body organs and anchors skeletal muscles. Lymphatic system. Removes foreign substance from the blood and lymph. Combats disease, maintains tissue fluid balance, and absorbs fats from the digestive tract. So lymphatic system consists of lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, and other lymphatic organs. Primary function is to transport lymph. Lymph is a fluid containing infection-fighting white blood cells throughout the body. So the vessels are connected to the lymph nodes where the lymph is filtered. Mo nang ang atong lymph node kanang lusay, no? Ano say mo pag na-infections mo, na siya mo inflame, no? I take note that lymphatic system is to transport lymph, and this lymph a fluid containing infection-fighting white blood cells. So managan mag-multiply po ng white blood cells diya sa imong lymph node in order to fight mga infections. Okay. Okay, the vessels connected to the lymph nodes where the lymph is filtered. Tonsils, adenoid spleen, and thymus are part of lymphatic system. Okay? So, as I said, ang tonsils, pwede siya i-remove because we have this adenoid spleen, thymus, and other lymphatic, other part of lymphatic system. Same sila o kanang function. So, kung i-remove ng isa, napaman kayo ba? No? So your immune system, na siya, no? Tonsils, lymph nodes, spleen, lymphatic vessels, bone marrow, appendix, thymus, and lymphatic vessels. So respiratory system, exchange oxygen, carbon dioxide between the blood and air in regulate blood pH. No? So kung panaghan imong carbon dioxide, less imong oxygen, mag-respiratory alkalosis ka. No? Pag nag-increase po imong oxygen, nag-hyperventilate ka, mag-kuan ka. Respiratory acidosis. So this respiratory system consists of lungs and respiratory passages. So this is the pathway of air through the respiratory system. If you can see the picture. No? When you breathe in, okay, going paingon sa imuhang lungs with oxygenated, with oxygen, and paingon din sa imo sa alveolar sacs. Ito din mag-exchange ng carbon dioxide o oxygen via red blood cells. Includes air passages, pulmonary vessels, lungs, breathing muscles. Aids the body in exchange of gases within the air, blood between the blood and the body, billions of cells. So as I mentioned before, natin mga muscles, so breathing muscles, inhalation and exhalation muscles. Okay, later ma-discuss natin na siya. Digestive system perform mechanical, chemical process of digestion, absorption nutrients, elimination of waste. So from esophagus, the stomach, okay, dayon small intestine, large intestine, to the rectum and anus. Okay? So, ang imong gallbladder, because it secretes some digestive enzymes also include. So, it is an accessory organ, no? So, consists of mouth, So digestion begins at the mouth. So you have to chew your food well because digestion starts from the mouth. Okay, ato rin sa esophagus. Sometimes kanang paspas imong kaon no, ang upper part sa imong esophagus mag-contract, yang lower mag-contract, so na-block ang food sa tunga. Manumatukan ka. Kay paano siya? Contract, relax, then contract, relax. Okay? Pero kung nagduhan o contract, kay paspas kayo pagkaon, adlo ka mahutdan. Nag-porous contract ang upper o lower. So, na-trap ang food sa tunga. Dili nakakaginawa, matukan ka. The human digestive system includes gastrointestinal tract and other accessory parts like the liver, intestine, glands, mouth, stomach, gallbladder. So, there are 6 main functions of human digestive system. Ingestion, motility, secretion, digestion, absorption, and excretion. So, okay, we will just, we'll stop to this kay tiri mo po nang stop ang other sections, no? We will continue our discussion next meeting. Okay. Any questions, clarifications? Yes. Let's go. Neil Jason Gores.
Sir, magnutana lang ta sir ba kung mag-send ba kag PPT ana ang imuhang kuan sir? Ning discussion nimo sir.
I want you to listen during discussion. Okay, you can take picture. I will send the PPT before the term exam. But during quizzes, I will not because I want you to attend the class. Tendency kung mag-send ko during kanang maghatag og mga quizzes, tendency some of them we experience. They will not listen. Magsalig sa PPT. Okay? But before term, I will share my PPT. But during quizzes, no, I will not. I will let you listen to the lecture. Okay?
Okay sir, thank you sir.
So while listening, attending the lecture, you can take picture if you want. Okay? So kung wala ka ni-attend sa klase, so you cannot take the picture. You're not listening. Okay? So we experience that one.
Sir,
Okay. Yes?
kaganiya lang sir kay ang ano ba, presentation sir kay blur siya sa sugod pa lang. So mo tong medyo naglisod mig ka ng basa sa unsay naka-present sir. So mo tong naminaw
Depende
lang
siguro
mig.
na sa inyong internet. So in ana nga case, you have to raise na dayon. You have to interrupt. Okay? Minus ang slides. So sa inana mga case. Because usually, before, wala may claim nga blurred. Okay? Klaro man siya. So you have to listen kung unsay gipangkuan kay we found out some of the students before ngayon na magsalig lang sa slides. You have to listen kung unsay gipang discuss. You can take note, di ba? Kung unsay akong gipang mention. Okay, anyway, naaraman po na sa slides ang akong gipang mention. Okay? Just attend the class. Okay, sometimes we found out nga during sa discussion, wala na minaw ang mga estudyante. In fact, after sa discussion, nag-leave na ang ubang mga classmates na present paghihapon sila. So meaning, wala na sila, naka-on lang. Okay? Naka-on lang ang kuan. Nag-log-in lang sila. So that is why we want you to attend the class. Kay tendency, wala mo'y makatunan. And you will suffer during sa board exam. Now, we don't allow also, there are some naka-online, okay? Pero, nag-part-time job. Okay, we found out nga na inana, nag-part-time job. Then mareklamo na lang dayon sila, minus ko na ang signal, but we found out nag-part-time job. Okay, we don't like nga nag-online mo, nag-part-time job mo. Okay, kay saan lang kanyang pag-take sa board exam. Okay, you have to maintain at least during board exam kay we have before katong mga student old curriculum kaya wa pa man sa new curriculum naka-take over board exam. Okay, fourth year pa man karon. Sa mga old curriculum, we found out nga dili kay sila maayo battery pa lang ginamo sila. Encourage yun, no? Even though magkahagbong-hagbong sila, but pag board exam, take one. So the previous board exam, nagiti isa, dili kay isa lang, nagiti minus kit siya. So ni-graduate siya, pero minus siya. Pero at least, sige, balik-balik siya, kaisa lang ang board exam. Wala na siya magbalik-balik o PRC. So, hinana ang amuhang intention. No? So, you just listen, cooperate if you want, especially kining online class karon na amot lang yun. No? In fact, nangagamay ang board ratings sa tanang department. Nangagamay ang board rating kaning online review. Okay? So, matapol mga estudyante sa online review, especially tagaan lang ko, di maminaw. Okay? So, karon na found out na mo na sa mga tanang department, nigamay gyud ang board rating because of this online review. Sa pharmacy, sa atua, we encourage students during board review dito sa Cebu. We tie up with the manor. Okay? Kaya ang manor na sila'y coordinator, constant follow-up. Sumbong din sa mua nga imong estudyante diri wala ni attend inana imong estudyante minus. Okay, so informing, so that is why mutong dagko po ang board rating because we have to call the parents also sa student. We call the attention sa student, asa man kaniadto nag-report ang coordinator ni absent ka. Okay, so makita na sa Facebook nag-post to rin naglaglaag. So for that type of students, sila po ikatong mga kapasar. Okay, katong sige escape. So what we are trying to do, at least even though online ta karon, do your part. No? Do your part. Read about the topics being mentioned. Okay, do some research. Nana siya. Okay? So anyway, pag inana nga case, you have to interrupt. Okay, sir, minus ang kuan. So that we could change siguro, no? So sobra akong signal diri. Full bars. Maybe sa inyo ha. Ano mo blurred. Okay? So any questions? Let's help one another. This is for your own good. We're trying our best, the faculty are trying their best to deliver everything. Na amoy makuhang information. Do your part if you want to become a pharmacist. Disiplina lang yun. No? Okay? So, karon pa lang sa inyong batch, we aim 100%. Kaya basig mag face-to-face na ta. 100% sa board exam sa inyong batch. Mag-aim na mo. Okay? So, dapat na naman nihibawan diri pa lang. Diri pa nga time. Para pag-abot sa review, paano kayo? Ma-recall na rin niyo.
We will start with the opening prayer.
So, inanang nahitabo sa mga placer na to. Katong dako at mga percentage. Okay? Okay, diri pa lang nahas-has na. Okay? So if no questions, and thank you for being with me this afternoon discussion. Have a nice day. Keep safe always. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. God
Thank you,
bless.
sir.